Chapter 14. Ben slumps down in the back seat of the car. Agatha sits beside him, chattering a blue streak. For once he's grateful for her mouth. He looks out the window. The leaves on the trees are opening and the lawns and fields are turning a soft yellow-green. He opens the window a crack. The air is warmer than it was yesterday. He thinks about the vernal pool and wonders if it has shrunk even more. When they get home, his father stands by the front door as Ben's mom and sister walk in. Ben tries to slip by him, but his father catches his arm. Ben stops and looks up at his father. Ben, you've never lied to us before. His father isn't yelling. He'd rather have him yell. I didn't lie, Ben says. I just didn't tell you. Same difference, his father says. You should have told us. You hurt me and your mom. I know, Ben says. It was too hard. Well, look where we are now. It's much worse than if you had told us. Ben nods. It's true. And Miss Tibbits made a mistake, too. Dad, don't blame her. Mr. Nickleby doesn't like her. I can see that. She may be a good person and a great teacher, but still, she is, Ben says. They both stand there in the doorway. Finally his dad shakes his head and says, Well, we'll all learn something from this. Why don't you go do your homework now? I have to get back to work. I'll see you at dinner. Back in his room, Ben sits at his desk and stares at the wall. Pretty soon his mind is back on Miss Tibbits' land and the Spadefoots. He's made everything worse somehow. The Overtoad would know what to do. For starters, he could swallow Mr. Nickleby and Miss Tibbits' sister-in-law and the men with the bulldozers. Ben rummages through his backpack looking for the sheet about the ecosystem report. Only 1 week left. If he starts on it now, there'll still be time. Amphibians of the World is sitting on his desk. Ben drops his backpack and leaves through the book, skipping over the Amazon rainforest in Central America until he comes to North America. He flips past the pictures of the tree frogs and leopard frogs and the enormous Rocky Mountain toad. When he comes to the picture of the Colorado River toad, he remembers the one that sat in their laundry room in Tucson. Boy, that was a long time ago, he thinks. Then he turns the page, and there it is, the eastern Spadfoot. It's not fancy like the leopard frog, or big like the Rocky Mountain toad. Nobody will miss it when it's gone. He thinks about Miss Tibbits. Could she lose her job all because of a couple of rattlesnakes? If she does, it'll be his fault. He thinks about Ryan. His friend stuck with him at lunch. In spite of Ben's stupid comment about the crossed eyes, Ben smiles, thinking about Ryan's attempt to stand up for him. Poor goofy Ryan. Even when he's trying to help, things go wrong. The phone rings and he slams the book shut. Another ring. Mom and Agatha must be outside, he thinks. He picks up on the 4th ring. Hello? A man's voice at the other end of the line says, I'm calling for Ben Mornay? That's me, Ben answers. I'm Ben. Oh, the man says, sounding a little confused. Is your dad named Ben too? No, just me. Well, Ben, this is Hank Lindsay from the Natural Heritage Program at the State Division of Fisheries and Wildlife. I got an email from you about some Spadfoot toads. For a second, Ben is speechless. He can't believe it. But when he starts speaking, he can't stop. Yes, sir. Thanks for calling back, Mr. Lindsay. Thanks so much. Really, my teacher, Miss Tibbits, has Spadefoots in her vernal pool, and her sister-in-law wants to sell the land, and I was wondering if you could save it. Whoa, the man says. Hold on. Whose land is it? Ben struggles for the best way to tell the story. Well, part of it belongs to my teacher, the part where her house is, but the rest of it belongs to her sister-in-law, and now that my teacher's husband died, her sister-in-law wants to sell the property so they can build houses there. But the Spadfoot toads have already hatched out in the vernal pool, and I think maybe there's some salamanders too. Spadefoots are endangered, aren't they? I tried to figure out how to stop them from bulldozing the pond, but I didn't know what to do, so I thought you could just come and see. It's all Ben can think of to say. It's quiet on the other end of the line for a few seconds. Then the man says, "Well, I don't know." "Please," Ben begs, "just come and look at it. It's really beautiful. We found 15 pairs of spadefoots. No, 16. You're sure they were spadefoots? They're smoother than other toads, and they've got these little pads on their hind feet and yellow stripes on their backs. Oh, and their pupils are vertical and—" Okay, the man chuckles. "I believe you. And how did you find them?" "Miss Tibbits took me to the pond." "You went out looking for them?" "Uh-huh, a couple of weeks ago when it rained really hard one night." "I know the night. I was out too." "You were?" "I sure was. Ben, if you don't mind my asking, how old are you?" 10, almost 11. "And this is your teacher's land?" "Right. It's Miss Tibbits and her sister-in-law's." Wait a minute. Is this Miss Tibbits the wife of Tom Tibbits, the high school teacher?" "Yes, sir. Her husband's name was Thomas, but he died a year ago." "Oh, I hadn't heard. I knew him. He was a good scientist." So is Miss Tibbits. Ben notices that his mother has come into the room. He gives her a pleading look so she doesn't interrupt. "Can you come?" Ben asks. "Well, son, I don't know how much I can do. It sounds pretty complicated." "I know, sir, but you've got to help us. They're going to start building soon, and this is our last chance. I know you want to save the Spadefoots, but it's the ownership of the land that's a problem. And if the pool is very small and dries up before we get a chance to document it, it will be difficult to certify it as endangered habitat. Listen, why don't you give Miss Tibbets' phone number, and I'll give her a call." "But can you come? Soon, I mean." Ben hears the man leafing through some papers. "I'm in Boston at meetings most of the week, and I have to be in the field all day Thursday. I could try to come Friday." "Can't you come sooner?" "I'm sorry, Friday will have to do. Don't get your hopes up too much, Ben. There's got to be definite documentation to hold up something like a building project." "Okay," says Ben, "but please come. Ben, did Miss Tibbets teach you about those Spadefoots?" "Yes, sir." She must be a good teacher. She is. Ben finds Miss Tibbets' number where his mom had written it on the cover of their telephone book, and reads it out. He says goodbye and hangs up. His mother is still standing there staring at him. "Ben, honey, what on earth is going on?" "That was a man named Mr. Lindsay. He's from the Natural Heritage Program." "Natural Heritage? What did he want?" "He's going to try to help us save Miss Tibbets' land." "I don't know what you're talking about, honey." Ben starts to explain. "Miss Tibbets' sister-in-law owns the land with the pool on it. She wants to sell it, and I thought—" His mother interrupts. "Ben, you're only in 5th grade. This has got to stop. You've already caused enough trouble with Miss Tibbets and her snakes. You need to do your homework and play with friends and let grown-ups worry about problems like this. You can't interfere in other people's business." "But if the man comes and looks at the land—" "No, listen to me. That's enough, Ben. Miss Tibbets is a grown-up. This is her problem. You have to stay out of it." Ben knows there's no use arguing. "Okay, Mom, okay." His mother looks at him. "That doesn't sound very convincing. I'm thinking your dad and I will have to have a talk with Miss Tibbets. Maybe her sister-in-law is right. Maybe she should sell the land. I still can't imagine what she was thinking, keeping those snakes." "Please don't call her, Mom." His mom shakes her head and goes into the kitchen. "We'll need to talk this over more when your father gets home," she calls. Ben can't wait. He has to see Miss Tibbets. He has to see her now. He slips on his boots and jacket. As he's going out the back door, he yells back, "I'm going to take a little walk. I'll be back soon." "Ben," his mother yells, "wait!" But he's out the door and across the backyard, heading quickly toward Miss Tibbets on the path through the marsh, a path he knows by heart.